It's been 2 months since one of the most prominent thought leaders in the world was tragically killed by a young person, an angry young person who said that Charlie Kirk just had too much hate in his heart in order to be left alive. This struck me as kind of weird because I'd seen plenty of Charlie's content and he just did not strike me as the kind of person who harbored dark, hateful thoughts and feelings towards the people he was debating with publicly and disagreeing with. As we move forward from this event and try and work out what it means for the world that we live in, I've come to the idea that what it means is that we have a problem with young people today feeling that the world hates them more than it does and feeling angry as a result. Why is that? I have a reason. Some people are going to hate it, some people are going to like it, but I think it's the truth. Welcome to the best video you've ever seen in your life explaining why young people today are so angry. So I want to start off by showing a video. This was the video I saw. These videos were sort of going around after Charlie was killed. Some of his best debates and greatest moments, and some of the videos that just showed, you know, what he was trying to do and the attitude, like the reasonable and noble attitude with which he was going about it. And this one was the one that really spurred and sparked my idea about why he provoked so much anger from young people when he was doing this.
What is a woman?
It's a person who believes they're a woman.
No, but that's not a definition. What objectively is a woman?
It's a woman.
No, what is that?
A woman.
Give me a definition.
Just anyone who believes they're a woman.
No, but what is that? That's circular reasoning. What is a woman without using the word woman in the answer? Can you answer that question or no?
It's just a person who believes they're a woman. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Okay. You can't answer you can't use the word woman in your answer. The inability to answer the most fundamental, obvious biological question, what is a woman? This is not troubling. Like, it's so simple, it's so obvious. And I guess the question is, when is womanhood then achieved?
Just like for that, whenever they decide. I mean, like...
Last chance. Can you tell me what a woman is? Are you a woman?
Why are you so hateful?
I asked you what a woman was. That's not hateful.
I gave you the definition.
Thank you for your time.
I actually feel sorry for this girl because I don't necessarily think that she's, you know, so different from Charlie. I think they both have good intentions, but they just have a clear, deep disagreement below the level of politics about the level of reality itself. What is a woman? You know, that's a question that has an answer in truth. And basically what I concluded and where this video led me was that we're not raising kids now to face reality, basically, to be able to face truth. Because there are some truths that are extremely uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable. What it comes down to is that we're not raising our kids Christian anymore. I mean, when you're raising a kid, I think your goal should be that you want your kid to end up as aligned with reality as possible, like understanding and being able to be adapted to reality as much as possible. And for the last 1500 years, we were raising kids in the West on the Bible stories. So kids were growing up, they were learning their culture, their Christian culture, and at the center of that culture was a story about a guy who went through the most intense and horrible suffering imaginable, with all kinds of other stories about people who had to face some really, really dark stuff. And that was the reality that they were introduced to. They imbibed that sense that there are going to be some difficult times that you're going to have to go through. And what we have now is people living their lives in a way that they don't feel that reality, that suffering is a feature of reality. They feel that reality is, it should be a nice place where discomfort and uncomfortable feelings are not present, that they just sort of swim through their life and it's all fine. And that's just not how things work. And but that's how they've been told. People are raised in a very sheltered environment with parents who dote on them and just basically give them whatever they want. We have the most tasty food imaginable, ready to be delivered to your door in 10 minutes. We have apps that people can use in order to have the most titillating sexual experiences that they could ever imagine. People have a very sort of hedonistic view of reality now. People see reality as it's an arena for pleasure, basically, and it should be set up in ways that they can attain as much comfort and pleasure as they want. We have nice beds, we have couches, we have TV, and then for people who grow up in relative wealth, they have the opportunity to go to university as well and increase their status, which also leads to a bunch more opportunities for hedonism, partying, all this kind of stuff. So that's what I see in the group represented by this girl. And when Charlie comes along and says to her, no, there's actually like certain things about reality that are, facts, that are truths that you may feel uncomfortable with, but they're true. And when he asks her simple questions in order to try and, get her to see that her worldview isn't actually that coherent, and her only response to that, after that long pause that she gives, she defaults to, why are you so hateful? This group of people, this subsection of young people, when they encounter something that's off script, that's out of this arena of pleasure, they interpret the person who is delivering the message, i.e. the Charlie Kirk, to be the one who's the source of the bad thing. So they're not just the messenger. Charlie Kirk's not just the person saying, a woman is actually a specific kind of thing. It has a definition. She doesn't see that as reality presenting her with something uncomfortable, with God presenting her with something uncomfortable. She sees it as Charlie Kirk creating this uncomfortable thing. And why would he be doing that? Well, it must be because he's full of hate for the people who live their life based on something that is not congruent with the facts of reality. So he just wants to make life difficult for them. So he's hateful. That's the only explanation for why he's doing that. Or at least that's how they interpret him, because they're not acting as she demonstrated. They don't have the ability to go along that logical path and to see that he's really just trying to, give people an idea that if they had been raised on Christian stories and had known that life was a process of growth and sort of, suffering to get to a better place, a more true place where you are more in sync with reality, that she would already know. So he's trying to fill that gap, not to be mean to her, but because it actually has effects for society if generally people don't know what the truth is. It's good to inform people of what's the truth if they don't know it, because the more people that know facts, basic facts, the more it conduces to our collective benefit. So that's why I think that young people have this sort of mentality. The anger is a natural consequence of the interpretation that they're being hated. And it's the idea that they're being hated, which is it's based on a false understanding of reality, and which comes from a certain type of upbringing, which is based on a hedonistic worldview and an idea of reality, that it's there for our hedonistic purposes. And the fact that we gave up in the West a worldview which was more in tune with the reality that they were going to have to encounter and the changes that they were going to have to go through in their life as they grew up and took their place in the world. I think that, as I've expressed in previous videos, I think that a Christian education is something that is, I don't think there's much that you can give a kid that is more of a gift to them, because it really prepares them in really fundamental ways for the life that they're going to have to enter into one day. You can shelter someone from reality for so long, but eventually they're going to have to face it. There are a lot of people who don't feel openness to Christianity and sort of view it as sort of a relic of the past, that if anything was kind of bad and held us back. I think that it's time to revise those views. If you'd like to, please feel free to click the subscribe button, and you can hear more excellent, awesome analyses about, important topics. And if you do, I'll see you in the next video.